Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create custom mobs for Minecraft Fabric. To get started, we're going to create our custom model for our mob, and we're going to be using Blockbench. I'm going to be using the web version, but the desktop version should be about the same. The link to this will be in the description. We want to click modded entity because that's what we use for Java modded mobs. We're going to click modded entity and then create new model. Okay, so we're going to call our mob, my mob, and then my mob entity for our entity class. Of course, you can use your own name for whatever mob you're making. Make sure you're on Fabric 1.17 plus. The other ones will make it so it won't work. And lastly, we're going to change this to 64 by 64. And now let's confirm. Once we're in, you should make your model of what you want your mob to look like. This isn't a tutorial for Blockbench, and you can find other tutorials online for that, so I'm just going to speed run through this. Alright guys, so I've created a little creeper here, as you can see, just a little custom mob. You could call it like a sand creeper or something, you could say. And there's a texture for it that I made, everything in Blockbench. But before I export it, I actually want to create the project first, so we have somewhere to put this into. So let's create a new project in IntelliJ. Make sure you're on Minecraft using the Minecraft plugin. Then let's go to mod, fabric, let's call it custom creeper. Change the version down a bit, change this to this, the Loom version. Everything else looks okay. Now we're going to press create. Set up your SDK to the version that you picked. While this is loading and finishing up loading in everything, we can actually go our client folder here, which is in the SRC folder. And we're going to right click, new directory, and we're going to write model. Now we're going to right click on here and we'll press copy path reference and absolute path. Now we're going to go back to Blockbench and we're going to export this by going to file, export, and then Java entity. You guys are going to want to click up here and then paste it in and then enter and then press save. Also, we're going to save this texture here so we can have colors in our thing. We're going to right click on texture, then save as, and then we're just going to press save. We're going to move this later anyways. Now we're done with Blockbench. If we open our Java file now, you're going to see a bunch of this code. We can ignore most of this. All I'm going to do is that I'm going to change this part up here, and I'm just going to write my mob entity render state, which we're also going to change down here. Inside the client folder right here, you're going to want to right click new and new package. Then we're going to write render.entity.state. And now inside of here, we're going to right click new Java class, and we're going to call it my mob entity render state. Enter. All we have to do in here is extend this class, and we're just going to import that. Now let's go back to our my mob file. Let's go over here and let's set the package name. Now let's import this. Let's import entity model. Let's import everything else that we can import from Minecraft. We're also going to insert our super here with the root. Now we're going to replace all of this with just some simple set angle. Now usually you would have a lot of animations in your mob, which could be a separate video, and those would go in here and you do some stuff in here. But because of how simple this is, we're just making a mob. We can just simplify it like this. There seems to be an issue here with our current versions and libraries, so we're going to change this to model transform.of, and it will do the same thing. Now all our errors are gone, so we can continue with the next step. Next, let's go to this file right here, custom creeper client. Now, of course, if you had a different name, then it would be called something different, but it ends with client and it came with the loaded files. We wanted to find our model layer location like this, and we're just going to import the class, and this will be your mod ID right here, or your folder name, and with your mob name. Next, we're just going to register this in, so we're going to import some more things. Just make sure to import everything that's needed and we'll be good. Now these two we actually haven't added yet, so we'll add these right now. Let's create this file right here. Let's right click on right here, new, file. We're going to write render/entity/ and then this .java. And now, as you guys can see, some things have changed a bit, but it's in the right place. It's under render.entity, and this one that we made earlier is under the state, which is inside of that. Now, of course, we don't have any code in here yet, but you want to create a class like this, and we're going to set the package name. So all the code will be in the description, by the way. I'll have something set up so you guys can download the code or whatever. Okay, so I fixed up the code a bit and everything should be working now. This code is basically just for our rendering of our mob. all this code does is basically just helps with rendering and giving our texture to the mob. You guys can still see that there's some red errors here. That's because we still didn't create that other class that we need to. And also, as you guys can see here, we need our mod ID here, which again is just the name of your folder or your mod ID, and our path here. This path goes to our PNG, but we actually haven't put it in the right spot yet. So let's get started on putting that PNG in the right place, because that's like a whole nother thing. It just kind of takes a while. You need to go in your resources, new directory, and now we want to call it assets slash custom creeper. Now we want to go in here, new directory, textures slash entity, and now we go get that PNG we had, and we're just going to move it over. We're actually going to rename this to be mymob.png, just like in the code. Now let's go into our main folder right here, where our main code is, and we're going to right click and create a new folder, and we're going to call it entity. And now inside of here, we want to create a new Java file class called mod entities. Now inside of here, this is the kind of code that will go on in the server or kind of like the back end. It's kind of complicated, but if you kind of understand how it works, this side is about all the client side rendering stuff. Then in the main code here, it's going to be more about the logistics and more about things like creeper health, speed, hitbox maybe, stuff like that. So inside of here, it's going to be more about that kind of stuff. So we're going to need to create our entity type with our mob entity. Let's get all these imports in actually first. This right here is actually the hitbox, so this is adjusted for 1 block tall, but once we get into the game, we're going to see if it's like fits the mob we made, and if it doesn't, we can just resize it a bit. We're also putting this mob into the category of monsters, but if you didn't want a monster, you wanted something else, there's a lot of other things you can pick. Okay, finally, let's create that other class we needed called myMobEntity, and that'll fix up some of the errors here, but we still need to fill this out, of course. All we're going to do is we're going to extend hostile entity, and let's import this. Next, let's create a constructor. Also, we can fix these imports so we get more things working. Next, we're going to add in the code we need for the AI behavior of the mob, and also things like the health, movement speed, and attack damage. I recommend looking at the Wikipedia page for Fabric if you want to create something more advanced, but all this basically will do is just have the mob look around, wander around, and if it finds a player, look at them and then attack them. Let's import our necessary imports. Now if we go to our other classes, everything should be fixed. Also, I'd like to create a spawn egg for our mob, which is kind of extra. We can still spawn in our mob so far. If we ran right now, we could spawn in our mob if we used commands, but let's create a spawn egg so it'll be a lot easier. So instead of entity class here, we're going to right click on its parent class and create a new package, and we're just going to call it an item. And inside we're going to create a new class called mod items. Now inside we're just going to create the spawn egg for our mob. We just use the registry and we create a new item with this identifier, and also when we do some more things with the assets, we're going to be able to change this name depending on language. So you won't actually see this. This is just what it's identified in the code. Now, since this is just an object here, we're going to need to load this in by just calling this empty method down here. And you're going to see us call this in the code down in our Java file for our main code, which is custom creeper right here. All we do is that we first register our mob, and then we register our items for our mobs or any other items we have, but we only have one, so it's going to be that spawn egg. And now this down here, all this will do is just add it to our creative inventory. So when we open our creative menu and we go to the section where the eggs are, it'll be with the other eggs. Now we're going to finally do some final touches with inside this resources folder in here. We're actually going to go up here to its parent folder, resources, right click, new, and then directory. And then we're going to write assets slash custom creeper slash items. And now inside here, we just create this JSON file, mymobspawnegg.json, like that. And we just put a little bit of JSON inside, very simple. You guys just put your mod ID, then item slash whatever you had in your code earlier. Now we're going to right click on this folder right here and create a new directory called lang for language. Then we're going to create a new JSON file, and this one's going to be called n_US, which means English, of course, for Americans. Now inside of here, we just do some JSON for our language. So my mob, the creeper, will be called sand creeper, and that's what you'll see in game. And the egg won't be called this, it'll be called sand creeper spawn egg. Now we create another directory in this one right here, and we're going to call it models/item. And this is again for the spawn egg item. We're going to create another file, .json. You can see the name right here. It's the same one as before, but there's going to be different things in the code. And this actually helps with the texturing, and all we have to do is set our textures and our layer 0 to just my mob spawn egg, and then we should be good to go. And we're almost done, guys. Now in this folder right here, we're going to create another directory, textures/item. And inside, I'm just going to put in this picture I made. It's kind of random and doesn't really look like anything much, but it'll work for the art tutorial. And yeah, it has a transparent background and it's kind of egg shaped. It's kind of random colors, but it should work. Now let's try running our client. We do not need a server for this, but it would work as well. Now this might take a second if it's your first loading. Once we're in Minecraft, we can press single player and create a new creative world just to test this out. Now let's go to our creative mode menu. Let's go to spawn eggs and let's look for their mob. Hey look, it's in here, sand creeper spawn egg. Alright, let's click one down and look. We probably should call it baby creeper spawn egg because that thing's kind of tiny. But if we press F3 and B at the same time, we can see its hitbox, which is kind of big. And we can actually set this smaller if we want to later. And if you want to make it smaller, we can just go to our code. And if we go to, I think, somewhere, yeah, here, dimensions, we can probably, let's see, we could probably halve the width, I think. Stand still. /tick freeze. That'll freeze the mob. Probably half it. And the height seems like it's a little tall. So we're gonna go 0.75 maybe, like that, and I think that would probably be good. Let's rerun this actually, and let's see. All right, let's load it back in. You guys, look, the hitbox is now a lot more accurate and what it should be. This is pretty cool, but it should be hostile. So let's put in a bunch in, and let's see if they attack me. Ooh, let's see. Oh, see, look, they're all attacking me now. They're not doing little explosions because I kind of forgot that creepers explode. My bad, but yeah, and yeah, that's all there is for today's tutorial. There's a lot more you can do with mobs, but I think this video might be getting a little long. At least the recording is, and it gets pretty complicated. So if you want me to do a video on something like the explosions or I don't know, anything else related to these or anything else in modding or Java in general, just let me know. Adios.